So by the time you're watching this, the Canadian election is likely over. It took place on September 20th, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm recording this on the 13th, so it's taking place 1 week from now. I'm not clairvoyant, so I can't tell the future, so I don't know who won, and I'm not in the business of rigging elections, so I don't know who's gonna win. Anyway, the election has probably taken place by the time you're watching this, like I said, before. And, I've also said this before that I think politics and voting and stuff like that is all bullshit, but just hear me out. I remember being a kid and watching my mom going to vote, and I would ask her why she was voting for whoever she voted for. And I remember her saying that they all promise that they're gonna do things for people, but they never do. Now, to be fair, I don't keep up with politics and what things people are promising because I just don't really care for it. At the end of the day, I'm in a low tax bracket because my income is low, and I doubt anybody will want to tax the lower income brackets even more, so people with lower incomes are ending up with even less money. Over this past year and a half, 2 years, this whole rich people should pay more taxes movement, let's call it, has jumped to the forefront of modern movements alongside Black Lives Matter and things like that. Personally, I'm not judge, jury, and executioner, and I can't be, so I can't say if I think rich people should pay more taxes because I'm not rich people. So I don't know how much they pay in taxes. I can only go on what I know. I know that, say I'm working a minimum wage job, which is $14.25 before taxes. If my math is right, I'd be making $2,280 per month. And I know that after taxes, when I was working a minimum wage job, I would make $2,000 a month. I do think that all legal tax loopholes should be closed though, because how can it be that companies can evade taxes legally, but with people like me being a normal employee, the government takes out taxes from my pay before I even see a dime of it? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. The fact that the government lets companies like Disney and all these other companies shelter their money in tax havens like Panama and wherever else, all these other places, is pretty bullshit to me. Regular employees don't get their money until after the government has taken out their share, but Disney and other companies have money to get all these lawyers and other financial advisors to show them how to avoid taxes legally. Like, that sounds pretty bullshit to me. But aside from avoiding taxes and all of the things like that, I wanted to talk about the structure of how we elect politicians and stuff like that. When you really think about it, having a federal election as a one-day thing is kind of stupid. Let me explain what I mean. When you have a federal election, you have one day where people go out and cast their votes, and usually I think it's that same night or the next day is when we find out who the new prime minister is. I have one problem with that. Here in Canada, we have two major political parties, the Liberals and the Conservatives. The Liberal Party would be considered the left-leaning party, and the Conservatives are considered the right-leaning party. I should also say that we have other small parties like the NDP who are more left than the Liberals. We have the Green Party who are basically on the same spectrum as the NDP, and we have like other smaller ones. But those four are essentially it. Anyway, let's say everybody goes out to vote, right? And 45% of people vote for Liberals, 35% of people vote for Conservative, 15% of people vote NDP, and 5% vote Green. I think that's 100% if I'm not mistaken. So on paper, you would say, the Liberals won, woohoo, right? But what a lot of people don't look at is that even though the Liberals got 45% of the vote, that means 55% of the country didn't want the country to be run by Liberals. So how can that work? That still means that more than half of the country didn't want the Liberals to win. So how can we correct this? Well, I think we should do it like sports. In the playoffs, for most sports, you have a bracket. 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So then that'll even it up a little bit more. You can do pre-voting or run polls or whatever you want to do to determine which party sits where, and then that's how you do it. So let's set this up in a bracket. I went on Google and I looked at all the political parties in Canada and I made a bracket. So let's put it on the screen right now on one of these sides. So at 1 versus 8, we have the Liberals versus the Canadian Nationalist Party. 2 versus 7, we have the Conservatives versus the Christian Heritage Party of Canada. At 3 versus 6, we have the NDP versus the Maverick Party. And at 4 versus 5, we have the Green Party versus the People's Party of Canada. Just for simplicity, we'll eliminate the bottom 4 because they probably weren't going to pull off an upset. So then in the next round, we have Liberals and Green at 1 and 4, and Conservatives versus NDP at 2 and 3. Eliminating the bottom 2 because, again, there probably won't be an upset. Then you move on to Liberals versus Conservatives. Now, you might be saying, wait, I got you. You're an idiot. You're stupid. We're right back where we started. Except not really. Let's say you wanted the NDP to win. You like the things that they're saying and their promises align with your values or what you like. But they got eliminated in the second round. So what are you gonna do next? You're gonna look for the next option that closely aligns with your values. You don't go to the store looking for Rice Krispies cereal, and then when you find out they don't have any, you don't buy any at all. You look for a second option. So in this case, the Liberals are your second option, so you vote for them. Then you have the 2 juggernauts of the country facing off, and you'll see, a 51% to 49, a 52 to 48%. And I think this is how, we can make it, I hate to say fair, but a bit more balanced, I guess you could say. But I think at the end of the day, all of it doesn't even matter if the people that we elect are just gonna leave us hanging when they actually get into office. It's happened multiple times where people say they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that, and then when you elect them, you're left to fend for yourself and you elected them for no reason. I also think that the debates are stupid also. I remember seeing a clip of one, and it's essentially, a bunch of people arguing over each other. You can't even understand what anyone's saying, and it's like listening to 4 or 5 people talk over each other. You get like a minute or 2 to say what you're allegedly gonna do, and then everyone just starts arguing, and I'm convinced that at this point it's just for entertainment or, to make people watch the commercials in between. I don't know. All I've heard is people discount other people, and it just turns into candidates bringing up things that other candidates didn't do instead of focusing on the future of the country and saying what they're going to do when they get elected. That's like Matt D'Avella making a video and me saying his video is trash instead of showing you how my video was better. It just turns into a blame game, and then the viewers leave the debate even more confused than they already were. Look, at the end of the day, it's like I always say, what do I know? I'm just an uneducated 25-year-old kid in the bottom half of the hierarchy, I guess, of society. Let's leave it to the suits to run the country for whatever that's worth. I will say though that I do sincerely hope, more young people do vote, because I think it's up to us to take the country back from these boomers and actually focus on things like global warming and building affordable housing instead of buying jets and tanks with taxpayer dollars. But again, like I said, what do I know? I hope this video brought you, some sort of value or opened your eyes in a sense. And as always, thanks for watching.